people. Our first agenda item is I would entertain a motion to approve Kyle Box and appointing Kyle Box and Justin Horvath to Community Corrections Advisory Board.
Mr. Chair, I will make that motion.
And I will support that. Is there any discussion? John and I are going to arm us.
No.
All in favor of moving this on to tomorrow night, say yes.
Yes.
And that moves on to Wednesday. Item B is I would entertain a motion to prove that we create the Pretrial Services Department, a subdivision of General County Government, under the direction of County Administration. Once the settlement funds have been received by the county, that would be the opioid settlement funds, just for clarity, have been received by the county, and set a budget in an amount not to exceed the settlement amount.
I'll make that motion.
And I will support that. And we have Mark Durfee, who has been working on this here tonight to answer any questions.
Hi, Mark.
Hi. You want to give a little
Sure.
presentation
Sure.
and then questions?
We're pressed for time, maybe you know this.
Pretrial services, simply put, is kind of like a probation department prior to sentencing. It's a supervision program that's voluntary by an offender. Not all offenders would be suitable for the program, but it is a supervision program while somebody's in pretrial status. So from the time somebody is arrested, you go in, the pretrial services would go in and do a risk assessment. They're going to look at a lot of factors. There is currently an approved risk assessment tool by the state that's being utilized by the other counties that have been doing this. This has been going on for probably 10 years plus. Once the risk assessment assists the magistrate or the judge in setting bonds. While the offenders are out on bonds, they're under the supervision of pretrial services. The pretrial services falls under Public Act 511, and that simply put is alternatives to incarceration. So you're saving money in the jails, and you're keeping people at home with their families. If there's things that they're having issues with, such as employment, treatment, that sort of thing, that's what pretrial services is designed to do, is to streamline these things. It's not a punishment tool or anything, but when somebody goes, if someone gets in trouble, there's a snapshot of that person's life, of that one moment in time. And pretrial services is going to be, will allow the sentencing judge to get a little bit wider view of what this person's personality is, what they have going on, anything to do in our community, that sort of thing. It's there to design, it's there and designed to assist people to try to break the cycle of get in trouble, throw them in jail, lock them up, throw away the key. It really doesn't do anything. So these are approaches that are being taken now to try to break those cycles. There's a lot more that goes through to it. There's grants involved. There's a lot of data mining that occurs behind the scenes, along with the supervision of the offenders. And Michigan Department of Corrections is heavily involved. Mental health is heavily involved. All the specialty courts. I know we've got Veterans Court now that's up and running. All the specialty courts, all of this goes hand in hand. It's not mandated by the state, but it's probably coming soon. So, does anybody have any questions for me? Yes, ma'am.
I do, Mark. What exactly is your role with the pre-trial services?
I've been asked to, I've been doing all the legwork. I do have some experience with it, and if you were to take somebody, if you look at the pretrial services, they're Oakland County, Macomb County, Kent County, Genesee County, you've got a mix of bail bondsmen, police officers, probation officers. You have people with those backgrounds that it's ideal for. Mental health backgrounds. just mentioned is things that I've done in my careers. So, I've been doing all the footwork, I've been going out and visiting the other counties, making friends, so to speak. So when we do implement this, we have assets and resources available to us, so it's cheaper to put together. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. Genesee County actually has been here a few times, and they're gracious enough to allow us to look over their shoulders. There's computer programs that have to be written to do the tracking, and they're gonna help us implement those through our IT department. So it's gonna save the county a lot of money.
So have we employed you then in some way, or?
Not as of yet, no. This is something that I was asked to do, and
So you're like volunteering?
kinda, I guess
Okay.
I was asked hard. So, I don't have a problem with it. It's something that I talked to Judge Stewart about, probably 9 years ago. And, one day at Walmart, or, Myers, he said, hey, you were right, it's coming, and it kinda snowballed from there, so.
So just to let everybody know, this is one possible portion of the Community Corrections Advisory Board. We have a meeting tomorrow. So we met last month in July, but we didn't have a quorum. Dr. Boggs had presented us with a couple of different versions of a budget that would use the opioid settlement money to fund this. So there are a couple of options. I'm not sure what, if that's gonna be put in front of us tomorrow night. It'll kind of depend on how things go with the Community Corrections Advisory Board and the will of this board to add that to the agenda tomorrow. But I think there's a chance that we will be able to see that budget, or at least see the proposed budget tomorrow night. So, yes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just had a question, maybe I misheard, or maybe misspoke. It sounded, I heard you say prior to sentencing, others prior to, I assume this means, this particular service is all prior to trial. So we're talking not about people who've been convicted, but rather people who are merely accused, trying to, I know some people can't make bond, or there's a question about amount of bond, and so that's what this service is about, people who have simply been accused, but not yet been convicted of anything.
Yes, sir. Pre-trial status prior to the trial. So part of the tools that are used in the risk assessment are public safety. You look at the severity of the crime. You look at has the person reoffended while they were on bond before, those sorts of things, and it all gets put together. So if say for example, right now you just pick a crime, and these are all felonies, by the way. We'll do a risk assessment on everybody that comes through, misdemeanor or felony, but the supervision portion is for the felony, so for circuit court. So this is something that the community, you look at everything you can and not everybody you're not gonna put everybody out on bond. It won't be a get out of jail free type thing, but we're trying to, within good conscience and with public safety in mind, if the risk is low, say it's a first time offense, non-violent crime, they could recommend a tether and weekly reporting, that sort of thing, and then they would report.
So the purpose of pretrial services is to make a recommendation to the bonding, to the judge for bond. What is the end product of pretrial services?
So the risk assessment tool is going to give the whoever is going to be, if it's the magistrate or a judge, a snapshot, and it's pretty similar to what happens now. So you go in, you get a financial background, are you working? You plug in all of these factors, and you have to utilize lien, judicial warehouse. There's a lot of different information that gets drawn into this program for the risk assessment, and then it kind of spits out a score, and it allows them to see if there's public safety is going to be an issue. Another thing, take that a little step further. Say they set a bond. Pretrial services will never recommend a bond amount. They'll just say cash bond, and it's still up to the judge or the magistrate. But the pretrial services say this person is a good candidate. So would recommend electronic monitoring, alcohol monitoring, whatever the case may be. The point is to, if you can, not put them in jail, save the money in the jail, and keep them at home with their families so they don't lose their jobs, that sort of thing. That's kind of what the goal here is. And again, it's an alternative to incarceration, so it's trying to assist people. So if somebody does fail, they fell squarely on their shoulders. We did everything we could to try to help somebody succeed and not get in trouble again. So that's kind of the point behind it.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Anybody else? Thank you for being here, really appreciate it. Okay, hearing no further discussion, all in favor of moving this item on to Wednesday night, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? All right, and that brings us to our last call to the public. I see no one, and so I would adjourn this meeting.
Okay, you got it.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Call to the public. All right, we'll move right into our agenda items. I would entertain a motion to approve the contract renewal with the Shiawassee Regional Education Service District for hearing and vision screening for an amount not to exceed $14,560 and authorize the board chair to execute the contract.
Madam Chair, I'll make that motion.
Support.
All right, moved and supported. Any discussion?
Contract renewals tonight. All 4 of our contracts are renewals. This first one is for the hearing and vision screening for the preschool age students at local daycare centers and school affiliate preschools.
Okay.
And it has an inflationary increase in it.
All right, still seems like a fair bargain. Anybody else? Anything? All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, the same. That will move forward. I would entertain a motion to approve the contract renewal with Shiawassee Health and Wellness for social work services as part of the Perry Schools Child and Adolescent Health Program in an amount not to exceed $84,154 and authorize the board chair to execute the contract.
So moved.
Support.
All right, discussion.
Once again, renewal. The next 2 are contracts that we do with health and wellness for social workers, social work services, and mental health in the Durand and Perry school districts. Durand being a school wellness program that has both public health nursing and mental health services. And Perry historically had been just the mental health services, but I'm excited to announce that we're going to be expanding that program to be a total school wellness program similar to Durand, and that is what the nurse position is on the agenda for tonight. So that's a big deal for the county and for that school district.
All right, sounds good. Anything else? All those in favor of this motion signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, the same. And that moves on. I would entertain a motion that we approve the contract renewal with Shiawassee Health and Wellness for social work services as part of the Duran School Wellness Program in an amount not to exceed $84,154, and authorize the board chair to execute the contract.
So moved.
Support.
Alright, discussion.
Same.
Okay,
Same.
anybody got anything else? All those in favor of moving this forward signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed the same. Alright, which brings us to item D. I would entertain a motion to approve the contract renewal with Connie Brown for dietitian services in the Whit program, and authorize the board chair to execute the contract.
So moved.
Support.
Discussion.
Connie is a registered dietitian with the health department that we have on contract, so we pay her an hourly rate for an average of 16 hours per week, as opposed to having her as an employee, where there would be legacy costs. She's previously retired out of Saginaw, and she's happy with that schedule, and it's working out pretty good for us.
Any other questions? Alright, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye, opposed the same, and that will move ahead. Our last agenda item, I would entertain a motion to approve the hiring of a public health nurse, grade 2, or public health nurse 2 at a grade 9.
So moved.
Support.
This is Perry. It's from a grant that we're receiving through the Michigan Primary Care Association, which is the same as the grant that we've had for Duran for 15 years. There've been funding increases now for school nursing programs, and ideally my long-term goal is for all school districts in Shiawassee County to have a school nurse. But having 2 out of the 8 districts is a great move in the right direction. So we're excited about that. It is difficult to hire nurses right now. It's proving very difficult. And per the personnel policy, I may have to ask the board for the ability to offer up to 10 vacation days for an experienced nurse, which I put in my memo to you guys, so we'll see if we can get there. It's actually something that is probably going to be necessary to recruit. So
Isn't 2.5 months during summer vacation time?
this is true. However, our nurses are still health department nurses, so they're not just taking the summers off. Now
Okay.
they can schedule their vacations in the summer. We don't have a problem with that. But they have to keep working, and they'll have to come back to our offices or do any work that they can do in the district.
Got it.
Good question, though.
Yeah.
Alright, anything else on the public health nurse? Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, the same. That moves forward. And Larry, if you would indulge me for just a minute, I have one item just for discussion that I would like to bring up really quickly while Larry is here. He's fairly knowledgeable about this as a member of the Parks Board. So last month I brought to you guys a working document that I think was misunderstood from the River Trail. They were looking for input, and instead we voted it down. So we met today and I explained to them that there was a little bit of misinformation there. So what the point being is that we, as in the county, own a parcel of land, 00719200043. It's not an insignificant parcel. Landmark Surveying did a survey dated March 8th of 19, and I think I sent that, I know I sent that to you, Larry, and probably Tony also, so I can dig it out and resend the actual survey. So I don't know if maybe this is something that I could just take to Parks Board, but I wanted to make everyone aware that, in my opinion, since we do own the land, we have some responsibility, or some, I would say, obligation to at least give them some input. And even if that's input is, no, we're not interested.
Where's the property?
It is Raleigh Street, next to Car Wash, behind the Knights of Columbus and Big John's. I mean, I have the survey from Landmark. I have it digitally. I'll just have to dig it out. Didn't I send that to you, Lindsay?
You may have.
How do we end up there? Or is it, came back to us as?
No, it was deeded to us by James Minor.
Cindy, Knights of Columbus on one side of 21.
KFC is Kentucky Fried Chicken.
Kentucky Fried Chicken, not Knights and Columbus. You said
Ah,
Knights and Columbus.
Knights of
Oh.
Yeah, I'm gonna go. Knights of
I
Columbus.
thought I just said KFC.
No, you said Knights.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
That's
okay.
weird, 'cause-
Yeah, you did. I'm going, do we really own property?
I know, and I'm here like, what are you guys talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's behind, oh, that's all real low next to the river,
That's why you
floods
can't
and
get
everything
chicken
else.
over at Knights of Columbus.
Yeah.
Why not?
Why do we own it? It was just given to us randomly?
It was deeded by James Minor.
I wish we could get rid of it.
And what
We
input,
can't.
what input would they like?
Well, they maintain it. This is a coalition of City of Corona, City of Owasso, the airport, anybody that owns Caledonia Township, anybody that owns property along that trail. They all maintain it. We just own part of it and do.
When you're saying they want input, are you saying they want input on what is our opinion in helping pay for stuff?
No, they have an intergovernmental agreement, which I brought to you guys. They are looking to update that. So they were just looking for input, and since we own property, they just want our input.
I don't think I know enough about that sort of thing to give input.
Is it next to the trail? It's not, is it
It's
next?
it's alongside it, yes.
So the intergovernmental agreement is for maintaining the trail, is that, and the area around it, is that what the intergovernmental agreement's about?
Yeah, pretty much. So, what do you think, Larry?
Well, the
Maybe
only thing I
Parks
know-
Board?
The only thing I know on it is, so there is some maintenance, funds that are provided by, I believe, the city of Corona, Caledonia Township, the city of Owasso, and maybe Owasso Township, depending on how the layout, and that helps keep that minor trail clean, between basically McCurdy Park and, the Kiwanis ball fields on Gould Street. It's part of the river cleanup event every year, so we go in there and, clean. Actually, a few years ago, we cleaned up some of the homeless encampments, but, that's a whole other story, we didn't get into that this year. But it is, the river trail is really important for our county, being the designee of a national water trail. And if any of you have spent time in the parks recently or been on the river, it has really, really been increased in use from not just county residents, but outside residents. So as a member of the Parks Board, I tend to advocate for the parks and their relation to the health department, because I believe it goes hand in hand, parks and recreation and health. So, I'm not in a place to, make decisions on that, but it might be something worth the county looking at, because it's probably fairly nominal in the cost to help maintain it. There's been an ongoing, maintenance agreement between those municipalities, so I'm not even sure how much or what, because I know I've done things out there, just with the river cleanup, but keeping it nice. I mean, the river's, since I've been here for 22 years, and it's the cleanest it's ever been. Both the health and the garbage that was in the river. It is really something. So.
You don't work on, you worked on the river, not the trail though.
Not the trail, but I picked up garbage bags along the trail for the river cleanup.
Oh, cause it's, some places it's close, right?
Yeah, it's right along the river, all the way between here and downtown Owasso. It's beautiful, if you've ever been back there. It runs on the back side of the airport.
I've been out there, but it's been years.
Yeah, really, really nice place.
Maybe we should take like a field trip and we could actually walk it and take a look at what.
Well, I guess I'm unclear what they're asking. Do they want us to help maintain it? Do they want us to just be named in the intergovernmental agreement as the owner, or?
They had asked for $1,000 a year
Okay.
towards maintenance, which is pretty minimal. But and that was in what I brought to you guys last month, but at this point, what they're asking for is just discussion. So,
What discussion, that's that's where we get, what
Yeah.
discussion would they like, what do they want us to?
Like, do we even want any part of it? Like, are we even interested at all?
Well, if we own it, we're sort of donating the land, right? Is that,
I don't know if we're donating it or if we're
There's an
just
easement or something,
leaving
I
it
mean, is
there. I would be very doubtful that anybody else wants it, for number one, because what was kind of talked about today is when the other entities kick the homeless people off, they go to the county part because nobody will kick them off there. So that's kind of where that is.
Yeah, I wish we didn't own it. I
But
wish
we
could
do.
give it to a different municipality.
They don't want it. They absolutely
That's
don't
probably
want it.
land.
Yeah, because to me, it sounds like we've got people that are camping there.
That's
It
what
isn't
it
gonna
sounds
become
like.
a big liability someday for us.
And they are getting reports of increased aggression.
This is true. I mean, I cleaned it a few years ago and they scattered when we went in there. And, we cleaned it all up and my daughter left a bouquet of plastic flowers right in the middle of their encampment. Problem is, within 24 hours, they were already coming back in to rehabilitate it. This year, when we went down there, the homeless that we encountered, did not give us a friendly look, so I said to the river cleanup folks, we're not gonna go in and bother that area, we're gonna stay on the trail and go around it. So, part of that land is the city of Wausau, and then part of it may be the county too, so I'm not really exactly sure what the boundaries are back there.
can we get a map?
GIS, maybe look at the GIS.
Yeah, I can send you the parcel number and you can look it up on the GIS. But I'll look, I know I have the landmark survey that shows our parcel. It's like I said, it's not a small piece of it. And again, I hear what you're saying, Brandon, but
When you say a
nobody
small
else is
piece,
gonna
is
want
it like an acre, 2 acres, or
I
some,
don't-
oh,
It's 100 foot in width, but it goes for quite a ways.
oh, okay, I just thought I'd get some
yeah.
idea.
And that's all I just wanted to grab it because I know Larry is very familiar with it, and if he's not here the next couple of days.
Yeah, and I won't be here for the next couple nights, but one more thing on maybe John covering the parks is that it turns out that we might have a little bit more land at the Pine Grove Park, riverfront land that we initially had thought.
About 100 yards.
There's been a survey that's been done by the county of where our land boundary is, and also there's been Phil Hathaway and Kevin Smith from the River Group did the track research at the Register of Deeds office and went back through all the historic transactions in the archives and found that we do have more land than we initially thought and some nice riverfront bottomland there. So that's going to be something that the Parks Board needs to take up, and that the county will have some probably responsibility in defining what our boundary is and maybe expanding that park and reopening it.
Is it more than when we was out there and found that boundary?
Boy, it's actually pretty close to that.
Oh,
Pretty close to that. So we have quite a little.
that pin isn't a good one then, right there?
Yeah, there's been a new one placed out there.
Oh, somebody's just done it lately?
Yeah, Landmark has surveyed it in the last couple months.
Oh,
Yeah.
you don't know where, I haven't been out there, I'd like to go and look at
You
it.
might want to come out and take a look at it again,
Yeah.
because,
It's a little different than where the other one was?
but not too far off. But
What do you
not
mean
too
by
far.
that, 10 feet or 1,000 feet?
Yeah,
Or?
maybe 10 feet.
Oh,
So we have quite a bit of land down there.
is it more or less than? Or-
More than we thought we had.
Oh, okay,
But the neighbor might not be in agreement with that, so
oh,
we're gonna see how that goes. More to come.
I knew we was gonna, talk about it, cause I was out there with you at 10, so.
You know,
I see they keep it mowed now too out there,
yeah,
so.
we got some trees.
I
that
better,
gotta-
gee, somebody mowed this all down nice,
Yeah,
that whole area.
That could be another river stop if they put in a canoe or kayak launch there. That'll be another stop along the river. There's just so many of those now with the bathrooms, the use and the access. It's fantastic.
Yeah, I think, what do we own, about 20 acres out there or something like that?
Yeah, at least.
I was shocked, I didn't have a
Goes all the way to
clue we owned
Johnstone.
that much.
Johnstone on the north and 52 on the west. River on the east.
Got more
Right.
than Brandon?
Yeah.
I thought maybe it was only like 5 acres or 3 or 4 acres out there, and I never knew that until.
It's historically a county park. It's just been inactive.
mean, it got started as a softball field because there was an awful lot of activity back in the day for softball.
Mhm.
That's all kind of dwindled away, slow pitch.
Alright, well, we can, maybe, I'll send you guys what information I have and maybe just take it up next month, so. Alright, anything else to come before Health and Human Services? If not, we are adjourned.